Alter ego. Now that's alter ego, baby. Jack's over here playing the wrong music, y'all. You don't even know.
I did.
I wasn't even about to start talking.
I started out with some Abba Zabba.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Alter Ego. That's right. Podcast where we do all the things nerds do.
All the things nerds do.
And
that's not
some.
true. Ryan Embodies not watching that.
What?
Anything.
Oh, yeah, I ain't watching that.
Can you guys tell Megan is super tired today?
I'm so tired.
She's almost like high with it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 97 of the Alter Ego podcast. Kind of crazy. But we're so happy you're here with us. Hopefully we get Megan for an entire episode.
We'll see. I'm excited for this topic. Speaking of which, graphic.
Oh, yes. The Batman. Which we'll get into just a bit later. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Pi Day. It's 3/14.
Oh, happy Pi Day.
The infinite number.
Is it really infinite?
Yeah.
It's got to end somewhere.
No,
Never
it starts
ends.
back over at 314 and then goes back through it again.
How do we know that?
Hey, you want to get out the calculator?
Yeah.
Get
Calculator?
it. You do that while we're doing this.
Who sat there and did the math for infinite numbers?
Some nerd.
Yeah.
Look at you mathing over there, nerd. Sorry. Holy smokes. Actually, got a little Ford Supply ad here. Not a new one. So I'm just going to tell you.
Real soap, no bullshit.
Real soap, no bullshit. www.fordsupply.com. You can use promo code Alter Ego. Do 10% off everyone.
Or not.
10% off everyone. But what you can't get 10% off of
My
Tony
love.
Mello's.
is the time spent at Tony Anello's, the Southern Italian Cuisine and Grill. You know, the one that's a hidden gem that's family owned and operated on the outskirts of St. Petersburg at 1136 Pinellas Bayway Drive.
That you missed something.
Jesus, I am off today too. Let's do it again. Tony Anello's Southern Italian Cuisine and Grill is a hidden gem that's family owned and operated on the outskirts of St. Petersburg at 1136 Pinellas Bayway South, Tierra Verde, Florida. This is a must-try for a homemade Italian lunch or dinner. Just remember to bring your appetite because the portions are very generous.
Very.
Call for a reservation today at 727-867-3577. And I'd like to give a quick shout-out to Seven Lamb Productions. Whoop, whoop. The first episode that we've partnered with for Voyage Media, Down in the Devil's Hole, starring Ian Glenn from Game of Thrones, premiered today.
Oh, nice.
Check out our Instagram. Check out our feed. We've got previews for it. We are partnering with them on this limited series. We're producing content for other storytellers and putting it in the podcast space. So pretty stinking cool. You might even recognize a familiar voice down the road. So go check that out.
Not me.
It's not Ryan. Although I do have something I need to record Ryan for later.
Nice.
And you'll just have to listen to everything Seven Lamb does if you want to see it. So, I mean, no big deal. Just do the thing, okay?
So
anyway.
this part, can I do it in a Batman voice?
Yeah, for sure. I don't see why that would be weird at all. Yeah. So, either way, it's going to be a fun day. Here we go, talking about the Batman.
The Batman.
And I know Ryan is ultra excited for that. But, we started off with some sad news.
What's that?
William Hurt, who plays General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, passed away this week from prostate cancer.
Oh, man.
May he rest in peace.
That sucks.
I was really looking forward to more from him, and I'm sure he and his family are having a tough time with that. So God bless you guys. Hope things get better. So, yeah, after we had that bit of news, we move on to something a little crazier, a little Nicolas Cageier. And that is him coming out and speaking out on comic book movies, which it was kind of odd to have Nicolas Cage be one of those because he's starred in one before. But I actually liked what he had to say. He said, I've always admired the realm of the comic book, and I've always thought stories were really colorful and entertaining and frankly kind of wholesome in a really positive way. I don't know what the umbrage is with people that want to knock them. I certainly think there's great value in it, and they bring happiness to people. What do you think? I mean, you probably agree with Mr. Cage.
Yeah.
I don't get why people are so adamantly against comic book movies in the first place. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me.
I think it's because they're never done the way they expect them to be done.
I think that's a big part of it. I think a big part of that is them saying that, oh, this isn't my story. This isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. And sometimes we're victims of that too. Oh. We're the same people that say that kind of stuff. Insert
today's topic.
Well, I mean, that is another thing that we'll get into. I don't want to get too far into it, but I'm waiting for the day where we start to see them get some notoriety and some recognition, period. Right?
I mean, I think they already have, though, with the entire MCU.
Yeah, they have, but I'm talking about, I see
what you're saying.
Because I really don't care for what the critics say and for what like the Oscars or whatever they are.
Yeah.
Because they are all going for something completely different than what actual fans of these are going for.
They're on some Rob Lamb shit.
They are on some Robert Lamb shit. They want, well, here's the thing. They have intricate stories. They have things that have a lot of depth of feeling and a lot of emotion in these movies, but they're not willing to recognize it.
Yeah.
Because it's a superhero.
Yeah.
And I really want for them to, and here's where I'm kind of caught at an impasse because I don't care what they think, but I feel bad because I think, man, we love these movies.
Yeah.
We can't even get a shout out. They gave Heath Ledger the Oscar, like an honorary one, because he passed away.
You know what's funny is that's what I did this weekend is actually watch the trilogy of Batman. And bro, his Joker is just it's
next level.
It's literally one of the few movies that I've actually watched because of someone's acting. If that makes any sense.
No, for sure. I get it completely.
I'm like, bro, there's nobody that could do this the way this man did it. And it's just crazy how good he is. Like just all the little minor things that he does, and I'm just like, wow. It's the only time I really pay attention to the acting like that.
For sure.
And I can't believe that he honorary Oscar, but he should have won one regardless.
I don't disagree. I mean, he's on the film. He's on screen for 8 minutes.
Nope, it's actually 33 minutes.
33 minutes? You sure?
Yeah, I had to look it up again because I'm like, it seems a lot longer than 8 minutes. And after I looked it up, he's on screen for 33 minutes. But even still.
But it doesn't matter. Right. I mean, he's not even the titular character.
Yeah, just sucks because I really would have wanted to see what The Dark Knight Rises would have been with him in it as well.
Because that was the original plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so we're not on Batman yet. We can't help ourselves. We keep jumping back into it. We're actually on Marvel first. I just wanted to go with Marvel first because they never go first. But
DC news must be light, huh?
No, DC has some stuff in there. They just, They're the subject matter, so I push them to the back.
I got you.
But Benedict Cumberbatch has come out and already said Multiverse of Madness is on the same level of No Way Home. And No Way Home was famously one of the top 5 movies of all time in terms of sales at the box office. And he's saying Multiverse of Madness can get the same level. Now, is it going to just keep being crazier and crazier? Because the next one is a big team up between Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, No Way Home was cool because you brought back Topher Grace and they brought back...
No, they didn't bring back Topher Grace. That's the one guy that
No, my bad, not Topher Grace.
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire, my bad.
Yeah.
I was watching Topher Grace and something last night. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it'll be the same level. I think that's what kind of made that special was the old Spider-Man's jumping in with the new. I don't see how bringing everybody back that we've recently known.
Yeah, this one is going to have a lot of people that we've recently known too. I mean, we're obviously talking about Patrick Stewart and the introduction of those X-Men. I mean, people are going to want to hear that and see that, and people who aren't so diehard and actually love the Bryan Singer movies with the X-Men are going to be like, "Oh, Patrick Stewart!" Which can we all agree that the one X-Men that we've all loved unanimously is Patrick Stewart's Professor X.
Yeah, I mean, it ain't that hard to put a bald guy in a wheelchair, but personally, I like Hugh Jackman the best. But,
yeah, that's where we kind of differ a little bit.
I mean, I know he's way too tall.
I do like Hugh Jackman,
but I think for what he his visually, he looks like the Wolverine.
I needed a little bit more F-bombs and a little bit more nasty attitude and cigar smoking and whiskey drinking and people getting actually gorily stabbed.
Yeah, I mean, it's PG-13 movies. You can't do all that.
I know. And that's why I'm kind of like, Again, nothing against Hugh Jackman. Big fan of the show, by the way. But here's what Benedict Cumberbatch actually had to say. It's a big, big movie. It's going to be an absolute riot. And if it brings off the level of ambition it's got, we're going to have a success on the level of Spidey. There you go. I'll put my flag in the sand. I don't even think that's that bold of a statement. It is bold. But, I mean, everybody's expecting a lot out of Doctor Strange right now.
I mean, it's probably the movie that's going to set the tone for the rest of the MCU. So I can see it being really big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can see it crushing No Way Home.
I don't see it crushing No Way Home in terms of box office numbers. But I think in terms of craziness and things that we're going to see, because obviously Spider-Man is one of the most, if not the most iconic superheroes of all time, other than, say, Superman or Batman. He's up there with those two. And Doctor Strange isn't really on that level, I would imagine.
It's funny, though, because I talked to a lot of people that didn't watch the MCU. One of their favorite movies, that was Doctor Strange.
Huh.
And
I loved it visually. I thought it was a great movie.
I was a little disappointed he only got the one and he was in some parts. I was hoping he would get a sequel here or there.
Well, this is his sequel.
Yeah.
But if you remember, in terms of the Avengers, this was his introduction, and then he helped kind of push the story along slowly, and it wasn't really the story for him to have a sequel, I feel, until right now. Anything that continues his story kind of goes on a more grandiose, bigger level, much like this. And so this movie, I think, well, Spider-Man No Way Home, which includes Doctor Strange, is that first one to set off this whole crazy mess that the MCU is about to get in.
Yeah.
But anyway, so speaking of that, speaking of multiverse and craziness, there was a piece of Shang-Chi concept art that was released.
Okay.
And it was from the scene when they're walking through that club in the abandoned tower, and they've got that fight club up there.
Yeah.
And the main fight was originally not supposed to be Wong and Abomination. It was supposed to be a version of Proxima Midnight, who's one of the five with Thanos, and a certain Merc with the mouth. It was supposed to be her fighting Deadpool in that big crystal cage. But I got to say, a lot of attention would have gone off of Shang-Chi if they used that. But could you imagine?
Yeah. Ryan
Reynolds' Deadpool in there fighting one of the children of Thanos and all the smart ass shit he'd have to say? I think it's. Oh, speaking of which, we saw Adam Project. Well, you saw it all, right?
Yes, I watched the whole thing. It was really good.
I saw about what would you say, half, 2/3?
Probably about at least half.
Damn good movie.
Oh,
looks really good.
Yeah,
saw a lot of ads for that yesterday as I was watching Netflix, and I'm like, I have to check that out.
Yeah, it really wasn't bad at all.
It was interesting. A lot of stuff that I hadn't seen before. Obviously, it's like the first line is it's about time travel. So, I mean, we shall see. Gonna be interesting. Speaking of X-Men making their debut, go ahead.
Does Mark Ruffalo Hulk out? If he doesn't Hulk out in that movie, I don't want to see it.
In what movie?
In Adam Project.
Oh, I hope so.
You'll be disappointed.
It's Mark Ruffalo. He doesn't really Hulk out unless he's playing, the Hulk.
I mean.
But anyway, speaking of X-Men that were going to make their debut but haven't, somebody I talked about last week, and I said this guy would have been a perfect casting for this person.
He did.
That being the villain for Mr. Sinister. The villain Mr. Sinister in the X-Men universe.
John Hamm.
John Hamm. And he came out and quoted saying, he was interested and really wanted to play Mr. Sinister. And his quote was, "I've never shot anything. I remember having a conversation with people. I'm a huge comic fan, especially of the X-Men, but it just didn't come to fruition." He was originally going to play Mr. Sinister in a sequel to New Mutants. But I'm happy it didn't happen because sometimes I think timing is everything.
Yeah.
And now that we're about to have Deadpool show up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think it's a perfect time to introduce somebody like Mr. Sinister.
Oh, absolutely.
I've been
ponying for him for years.
I mean, he could be an iconic returning villain too.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting tired of the Apocalypse and
yeah,
it was a Magneto going back and forth. Like, give me Mr. Sinister, give me somebody different,
somebody
like anybody.
Yeah, I mean, the X-Men are about to have that door kicked wide open.
And I can't wait.
No, me neither. And one of the guys at the comic book shop said that today too. He's like, I was like, do you ever get excited for, because we were kind of talking about the fact that we're talking Batman today. And I was like, do you really care at all about, those comic book movies? And he goes, honestly, I've been burned before and I didn't like X-Men and X2 and all that other. So, he goes, when they get rebooted, maybe I'll go watch it. And I'm like, oh, well, good for you.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking about this, and I had another conversation with a friend talking about Deadpool and his contract. And I kind of wanted to send this out to the room. So they say Deadpool's contract, they're still going to keep him kind of separated from the MCU and have him have cameos. Who did he mention? Like Falcon in Ultron.
Okay.
And I was like, this makes no sense to me. I don't get that. Why would you pay him the most out of everybody? Now, I get it. You can't have Deadpool breaking the fourth wall in major moments like Endgame or something like that. You can, but the whole movie, it kind of becomes a comedy, and you don't get to see a lot of seriousness out of Deadpool, which you really never see that.
Nope.
So part of me was saying, on a small level like that, would it make sense? Would Deadpool be somebody that they obviously he's been paid more than Robert Downey Jr. and he hasn't shot anything yet. Do you want to see him for 30 seconds here and there?
Yes.
Yeah? You don't want him to have a bigger role in that?
I mean, I think the Deadpool movies alone will probably make up for his contract. My guess is he's probably going to be one of the few that are recurring and long term. I mean, given what's going on, you might not see a lot of people from here on out. So
I think there are a couple guys that have plot armor right now, and that is Thor, who wants to be around, and Chris Hemsworth is one of the hottest things out there in terms of movie stars, and he loves Thor and wants to play him, and it makes sense because Thor's a guy who's always there, and he could take more of an Odin role, more of a higher tier role. Another guy, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Because he has kind of had that kind of role like we're talking about with Deadpool. He was like that in the first or in the second Avengers movie. Not Avengers, the Endgame.
Yeah.
He was like that in Ragnarok, and he was like that in Spider-Man. So you could have him play a role like that and not really die, but I think we're going to see eventually an Illuminati style movie, and that's when you'll see another Doctor Strange 3, Illuminati, or something like that. Anyway, another guy who we've talked about now, it's official, he's out, Charlie Cox, playing Daredevil.
Good old Daredevil.
They asked him about entering the MCU, and he said he could see things working out in a PG-13 perspective, but would much rather do it, and it would pay more justice if they did it in the R rating universe, I guess we'll call it. It absolutely can work, but I guess that you can't deny, what you can't deny is Daredevil's never going to work as well in a PG world as Spider-Man does. That's the point. I think that the age of the character, the Christian guilt, his history with women and stuff, it's like a little bit more mature. It has to be. I agree. Daredevil does not have superpowers to where he can web you up to a wall and call it a day. Daredevil has to break something very serious and leave you there. He's got to use weapons. He doesn't have any special physical abilities other than the fact that he can see what you got coming.
And I mean, if he's not really tied into the MCU, they could just do a whole section with him, the Punisher.
I think they're planning that.
And whoever else needs to be over there. That is rated R, so that they can still make money off of them, but it's not in that same scope of the MCU where it has to be PG-13.
Okay.
Kind of like with Deadpool. You know what you're going to get.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Because when you get Deadpool, you're getting people getting shot and stabbed. Yeah. Period.
Including him.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see him stab people and probably make the comment of, "Ooh, no blood," or something like that.
He wore his red pants.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we're also seeing Punisher go to Disney Plus. But what I was going to say is, I think the measuring stick for how crazy they're going to get, what they're going to dip their pinky toe in with, is Moon Knight. Because Moon Knight got another trailer, and it looks very brutal. And when they asked one of the female leads of the movie, for her name escape, or the show, her name escapes me right now, and I'm sorry. She says it's a mix of Fight Club and Indiana Jones. Like, this movie is completely set apart from your typical, let's say, Daredevil or Punisher, where it's very centralized in a city. He is shown in Egypt and the pyramids and in other major cities. So this is going to be a big production. And they say that they're not going to pull back. I quoted Kevin Feige the other day about his talking about Disney Plus and saying, "Are we going to pull it back? No, we're not going to pull it back. This is Moon Knight." So I think from there, we're going to see if we're going to start getting like a Marvel Knights and a more rated R version of the MCU.
So I was going to say, is that TV show going to have an MA, a mature tag on it?
Well,
probably.
Mature can go pretty far.
Yeah, I mean, if they can do that, then I can totally see them bringing in Daredevil and Punisher.
And let's look at the characters they're bringing into the MCU, and we'll exclude Sony because a lot of those are Venom and Morbius and those guys. They're just built for blood. Yeah. But let's talk about the guys in the MCU that are coming in: Daredevil, Moon Knight. We know the X-Men are on the way, so you're going to get somebody like Wolverine. You're getting Punisher. You're getting Deadpool.
You're going to get the down and dirty.
Yeah, you're getting guys that are known for shooting and killing.
Yeah.
And now you're going to have that audience. I know it's out there. I'm that audience. You're that audience. Oh, yeah. This one's that audience. We want to see that.
Absolutely.
I mean, you want to talk about telling real stories. Well, let's get down and dirty with it. Let's see some of our heroes get in some compromising situations. And you mean to tell me that couldn't be led by a Nick Fury who will come in and drop a couple motherfuckers?
Yeah.
It could be done. It could be done.
It could.
It could easily be done. Will it be done?
Right. You're not wrong. So yeah, that's what I got for Marvel. The new Moon Knight featurette. If you don't care about spoilers, like I don't, which I don't know what's a spoiler and what's not, watch that sucker. It got me pretty hyped for the show. And you got to see Moon Knight in the all white clean suit. You could tell they're going to the comics with this. And it looks like they're really diving into the whole duality of it, of Mark Spector being his alternate or his alter ego. Get it? It's in the name.
So funny.
I'm looking forward to seeing this one. This is probably my most anticipated.
Yeah, Moon Knight
one. Yeah, because I know of Moon Knight, but I've never actually read or dove into him at all, really whatsoever. So I'm gonna be really interested to see their take on him and what they actually do with it.
And I like that they're giving him the costume eyes, the white. You know what I mean? Just the glowing eyes instead of like they did with a couple of costumes. Like Black Panther's first costume, loved it. Loved the mesh, loved all that. And then the second one, when they took that out and just had his eyes, I was like, I feel weird.
Yeah.
And then Deadpool obviously crushed it with his mask.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Subject number 2, random stuff in video games. Super Nintendo World coming to Hollywood, California next year. Are we going to head down there?
California?
We're going to head down to Hollywood, California?
No. I don't want anything to do with California.
Yep, me neither.
I got
no offense to people in California.
Yeah,
no.
I'm not going there.
I don't want to go there.
We love you people. But, yeah, anyway. I thought for a minute it was going to be Hollywood, Florida, and I was like, I'm going.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Kids, get in the car!
Yeah, we're going!
We're going! One of them's going to pop their head in here now that I said that. But speaking of video games, I have something tantalizing for you over there, sir.
Ooh, give it to me.
We got a beta release date for Overwatch 2
Oh, snap.
Yes, we did. Let me pull up the article because there's two things and it talks about kind of what to expect. The coming soon in late April. We're getting new heroes, new maps, new modes. Beta sign up is at the link provided on our Alter Ego Instagram page. So if you want to sign up for the beta, go in there and do it. There's another link for all the developer updates. So go in there and check that out. New hero Sojourn will be made available. New mode Push will be made available. New ping system. Don't know what that is.
Probably where you're being able to ping things
and hero reworks for Orisa, Doomfist, Bastion, and Sombra.
See, I'm worried about the Doomfist. I hope they do what I say, that he shouldn't have so much of a cooldown.
Yeah.
Because that just makes him...
I would not mind him being more like a Genji and having higher or lower cooldown rates, but make him a little less tanky. And you can put him in there and make whoever that is use those cooldowns to be good with him.
Well, that's the thing that sucks about him is because, like, you only get the armor if you land the
seismic
slam. And then from that, you're like a 6-second cooldown from a punch or anything. Like you seismic slam, toss him up, punch him, then you're nothing for 6 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's like...
And that's what a lot of the pros will say is like, you need to use 2 of his cooldowns to get into the fight and always save one to get out.
Exactly.
I'm like, I get that. But that's not always fun, right?
It's not.
And I mean, if you just make him a little less tanky and make it more risk versus reward, trust me, some people will still get in there with Doomfist and do their business.
Oh, I've been playing him a lot lately and putting in work.
I actually re-downloaded Overwatch just to get back into it for the beta.
Ooh.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, he turned it on the other day, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
he hasn't played it in so long.
She goes, Overwatch?
I was like, "What? What?"
Yeah.
I hope they reset our SRs. I've been trying to get out of wood down there in 1100 on my DPS.
Oh boy, I'm worried about you.
Man, that's what happens when you play solo.
That's true.
I love it because I have my wife's account, which was gold, and then when I finished, I actually ended up in plat.
Hey,
and then dropped a few games because kids were bad. And
you gotta have a
like
squad.
1600.
Gotta have at least 3. Anyway, so I set you up with the good news. You ready for the bad news?
Yeah.
So in order to get this game pushed out and get what we wanted and have more releases and things to happen, they have officially pushed back the entire PvE section of the game.
Oh, I'm not
so
mad at
the
that.
big thing that they were looking to come with was all this PvE and builds for heroes and stuff like that and raids and all the cool stuff that they were going to do. All that's been pushed back because everybody complains.
I'm not going to lie to you. I could care less about that. I just wanted the multiplayer.
I think the PvE was going to make this game next level. I mean, like, you like to play one-player games and do raids and stuff. Why wouldn't you want to do it in Overwatch?
Because honestly, it's a multiplayer game. I like playing multiplayer.
I mean, it
games
is a multiplayer game for sure. It is.
It's never the same game twice.
Yeah.
So for me, I just like hopping into a queue, rolling solo. If occasionally a couple of boys get on, great. If not, dealing with all the other bad kids that like to play that game.
Yeah. I know what you mean, but I still think that's now the whole thing that you've been talking about this whole time. You want Overwatch 2. You don't want Overwatch 2. Or 1.0 or 1.5. You're getting Overwatch 1.5.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, essentially adding, you can make builds now and do it in PvE, that does nothing for me, especially when the game is based primarily on multiplayer. That is what it's known for. Like, I like the different modes of like Lucio Ball and Maze things. Like, those games are fun.
You don't like it when the story modes come in and you can play with those characters?
Not really. I mean, I can only play Dr. Junkenstein so many times to get loot boxes.
Well, see, and that's the whole thing is there was going to be multiple missions like that for every hero with different builds and more stuff to do. I think there's a lot of promise behind it, and I just... As much as I loved Overwatch and this one, and you can attest to the amount of hours I've dumped into that game,
ass load.
It's really hard for me to see this and go, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Because my download, I was like, I'm ready to get in here and get in this beta and see what they got. And now I'm like,
See, what makes me the most sad is that there's only one extra character coming. It's been, 2 years since we've got a new character?
No, not 2 years. Since, what is his name? Sigma?
Sigma came out a while ago, bro.
Huh. I mean, yeah, this has been one of the things that everybody's been complaining about, and now this is what we get. So, I mean, again, it's good news that Overwatch is moving forward, but it's to me, it's just stupid that it's been like that.
Especially with only one tank now allegedly being played. So
yeah.
I think they would have come out with at least a few more tanks that were maybe a little more aggressive.
Right. I mean, right now you've got Roadhog and D.Va.
Yeah.
And the ball, Hamster.
D.Va ain't bad.
No.
I mean, D.Va ain't the greatest.
What the hell's his name again? Hamster? Hammond?
Hammond,
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Megan's just there for the skins.
Yep.
That's all she cares about.
And like the loot boxes, anytime you got a gold thing, I was like, ooh, what's that? Ooh, what's that? You want to spend $20 on 5 loot boxes? Hold on, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I want to come back and see what you get.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll keep you posted on the Overwatch news. I can't wait to see what comes of it. And hopefully it's not like, well, you're going to get this year, but you're not going to get PvE until 2024. I'll be pissed with that. Anyway, Gotham Knights. They said it wasn't going to happen. You weren't going to get it. You weren't going to get to play as Red Hood, Nightwing, Robin, and Batgirl. Has now gotten a release date of October 25th, 2022.
You said you can play as those characters?
You can play as those characters. Trust me, I thought the same thing you did. I will not switch off of Red Hood.
Me neither.
I will be Red Hood and just run through the game.
Yep.
I might take a break with Robin because it's Damian Wayne, and he's my favorite Robin. But, we'll see. So, that being said, let's take our break, and we will be right back with some TV and movie news. Which one of them's kind of a hybrid, wouldn't you say? Okay, well, good for paying attention to Megan. But we'll see you guys in just a second.
You always yell at me for reading your notes.
Don't read my notes. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the Alter Ego podcast. More news coming right now. Sonic 2. New trailer came out.
I know the boys are hyped for that.
The final trailer. The boys are hyped for it. I'm hyped for it.
Yeah.
Did you see the first one?
No.
You're really, this is one of those that you're going to watch and go, damn, they were right.
Maybe. I'm so weird about watching animated type movies.
I know.
I will watch shows. I will watch 700 episodes of an anime. But you try to make me watch a 2-hour animated movie and I am not here for it.
But it's not even animated. It's like the Alvin and the Chipmunks. It's like partially Chickmunks. It's partially animated and partially not animated, and for some reason like I don't really like that either.
Yeah,
I mean, luckily I did like Sonic, but that style, I don't know. That shit annoys
Sonic
me.
was really good to me. I liked it. Jim
it
Carrey crushed it. The new trailer shows a lot more of Knuckles the Echidna, and I think it's going to be a fun movie. We should definitely take the boys day one to go watch that when they're going to freak out.
Yeah.
But Sonic as a whole is just such a good property right now. And the trailer for Sonic 2 is identical to the Sonic 2 video game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was like, nice touch. Somebody clearly is paying attention to the source material. And Tails is back, too. We've talked about that.
I wonder if Sonic will turn gold in that one.
I don't know. That would be cool. We probably are going to see some evolution of Sonic in this, but anyway. On to news for Dune 2. Apparently there's a character named Princess Irulan, who is the Emperor's daughter, which last I checked, isn't the Emperor the weird fat, floaty Peter Sarsgaard, or is he?
I have
he's something else.
I don't know anything.
But anyway,
about
Florence Pugh is signing on to play that character, and apparently that's our main character Paul's one of his love interests.
She could literally read the phone book, and I would watch her do it. She's
but I was sitting here like, wait, isn't Zendaya in this movie? Isn't she?
Yes.
The female lead who's his love interest? Or am I missing something?
You said Dune, right? With an N?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have no idea. I've never finished the first one.
Yeah, I can. That doesn't surprise me with you. That
I don't know. Are they
lost you, didn't it?
I think they are love interests. I think.
I just kept falling asleep on it, man. I could not. I got to like the
Isn't
same
it like
point
a 4-hour movie
every time, and then I just kept.
I've got to get
asleep.
my brother to watch it because he's one of those guys. I'm guilty of this with certain properties too. I'm not knocking my brother, but when he's like, "Oh, Dune, I read the books." How do you know somebody's read the book for a property?
They'll tell you.
Don't worry, they'll fucking tell you.
Yeah.
And it's 100% true. But yeah, Florence Pugh, I agree with you. She's in it. Sure, I'll watch it.
Yeah, that makes me want to watch the first one just so that I can see her in the second one.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
I liked the first one. I thought it was good. I thought the ending was like, wait, what? But anyway, it was good.
Florence Pugh.
She
plays.
she's
Yelena in Black Widow.
She's Black Widow's sister.
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy,
cheeks are definitely clappable.
yeah.
I knew that's where his brain was going as soon as he heard. Oh,
she became my immediate female Marvel love interest.
Wow,
I like it
in Black Widow.
The more she does like funny, relatable stuff, the more I would let her get within 100 yards of the throne for Sandra Bullock.
Wow,
get within. Now let's not be crazy.
Yeah.
I knew you liked blondes
Sandra
too.
will never be dethroned.
I do. I married one.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Forget what hair color you got.
She did.
Dyed so many.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of like in between.
Wife.
I'm in the middle of the road.
Hey! Just shut up for a second. Obi Wan got a trailer too. Obi Wan.
Oh yay! No, I'm just kidding. I'm excited for this one. It had to be altered because of why? It was too dark.
Too dark.
What?
Yeah. They had to rewrite some of the script. They're like, this shit's too depressing, man. You can't put this out.
Ugh.
Because it's about Jedis being hunted down.
That's perfect.
After Order 66.
But if that's what it calls for.
Right.
I know. I'm here for it.
Quit changing this shit because you're... Never mind.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Bunch of pussies.
Whoa,
somebody's ringing.
Not me.
Ding.
It's you.
That'd be me.
Uh-oh.
An important phone call.
It's
Florence Pugh calling to get her cheeks clapped.
I was about to say no. It's Abby calling me like, what did you say?
That makes more sense.
Yeah. Love you, Abby. Anyway, still, that's going to be a very interesting show. It looks like it's got a great tone. I love that they're following people from Clone Wars and comics, and they're showing actively hunting Obi-Wan and the Sith and the Empire just rising to power, and it looks so oppressive. And then you get these great scenic shots of Ewan McGregor, who's just like, I'm a Jedi, man.
No big deal.
And you know he's going to have to fight somebody like Darth Maul. He might have to fight Darth Vader, which they've already said. Him and Hayden Christensen have been on screen together. And I'm like, guys, over there at Skywalker Ranch, if you show us Darth Vader on screen, and it is not James Earl Jones's silky chocolate voice, I might freak out.
Yeah.
Do not change the baddest man in the universe to Hayden Christensen's voice. Please don't do that. I will be cross. I may even put pen to paper and send a nasty letter your way.
You won't do it, you coward.
I've already done it. It's already got drafts in my outbox.
But they're drafts, so...
So
Hit
what?
that send button, bro.
I haven't seen it yet. How can I do it if I don't see it?
Just do it anyway.
Just preemptively be angry.
It's
that's kind of on.
That's what we do
it's on
nowadays,
par with everyone. Be angry before something happens.
Yeah.
Don't trigger me. Here's how you should make your show.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus. All right. Well, that being said, we're on to DC. On to
more delays.
Detective Comics.
More delays.
First delay that we're talking about. Note peeker.
Hey, don't give me shit about not peeking at the notes and then
Black
give me
Adam.
shit for... Oh, you shut the computer.
Why's it got to be Black Adam? Why
No, I
can't it
can't
be
see the
African American Adam?
Let's talk about it.
Because not all blacks are from Africa.
Fair.
Ryan.
Fair.
Yikes.
I've never been there a day in my life.
I was about to say, I've never been there. I'd love to.
Yeah, it would be probably
I imagine
incredible.
if we all got off the plane
I don't know if I
in,
wanna go
let's
there.
say, like Kenya, we're getting off the plane going, cool, we've been here. Saddle up.
I don't
Let's
know.
go.
Talk about the culture. Will you stop with the phone?
I thought I had it silenced, like for real.
But no, talk about some deep culture. This
Actually,
is
I
beside the
do.
point.
I would love to go there
I would
and spend
too.
a great amount of time, but I just got to
they're
say,
like-
I don't know.
Their
catch a
style
lion.
and wardrobe and just
Catch a lion.
Yeah.
anyway.
Or hyena.
Wow, catch a lion.
You know, hyenas have more bite power
Yep.
per square inch than the lions do.
Yep. This I know.
How did we get on this?
Because we were
We
talking
were
about Black
doing that,
Adam.
Black Adam.
So here's my thing.
Sweet
I am
derail.
falling out
aggressive.
of love with The Rock on this.
Because okay, I'll say because of this or
I started to
show.
fall out of love with
Just-
him because of
he's
something
just
else.
So into himself.
Yeah.
And him playing this character, Black Adam, be like, we're really going to bring Black Adam and show up and do the character justice. I'm like, let me tell you something. If Black Adam mentions Terramana or starts talking about eating peanut butter donuts on cheat day, because he's already got a very thick accent as Black Adam.
No.
Very thick regional accent, and everything we've seen from The Rock has been, my son thought I deserved this power. And I'm like, does Black Adam talk like that? I don't know. I just think this is going to be 90 minutes of The Rock saying, all right, how do my biceps look in that shot right there? Okay. And then I get to throw this guy through the planet. And then I ruin the planet, but then I save the planet too, right? I don't know. I have very low expectations for Black Adam.
I'm a little disappointed. I mean, it's Black Adam. They didn't get a black guy to do it.
Well, The Rock is black.
He's part black.
Okay.
Rock looks tan.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Speaking of delays, two other DC major properties pushed back an entire year. That being The Guy Who Fucks Fish and The Flash.
What kind of fish was it?
He says, yeah, good one. But Aquaman and The Flash have been pushed back to 2023. What's going on, guys?
Yeah, I mean,
just when we thought you'd gotten your shit together.
That's what you get for thinking.
But something else got...
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm note peeking.
Something got pushed up, and that was Shazam, Fury of the Gods. So that's pushed up to 2022. So does that mean we're going to get Shazam right after Black Adam?
Do they have any? Oh, they do have things to do with each other, don't they? I don't even know. Where
Directly,
Shazam
especially because Black Adam has to say Shazam to get his
powers.
powers.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I remember.
So now we've got Black Adam and Shazam coming out. They've probably pushed Shazam up to December, I would bet, if it's pushed into 2022 and it was originally 2023. So maybe that'll be a Christmas time movie. And they say Shazam is going to compete with Avatar 2.
Oh, I mean, hello.
So that's going to be a tough sell.
Shazam.
Tough sell.
Oh, you mean the type of whatever release is? I thought you meant like on the same scale. I'm like, they are delusional.
What do you mean?
Thought they're like, oh, it's going to compete with like numbers for Avatar 2.
Oh,
Not
no.
Not coming out around Avatar 2. Yeah.
Yeah, not going to happen.
You know what's going to happen is people are trying to get tickets to Avatar 2 and it's going to be sold out. So like, we'll just go see Shazam instead. That's what's going to happen.
This guy with your technology.
Bro, I have no idea.
What is going on over there?
His phone has a mind of its own. We're sorry. He's so rude.
I'm just pushing buttons.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and IGN dropped the 27 best Batman Batman graphic novels of all time.
And I'm about this. And more so because I've seen...
You're the person whose opinion I wanted, because you have... Yeah. Let me tell you something, folks, at home. Let me give you a little insight into how our lives have turned into Batman Central ever since this one saw The Batman.
Oh, please, because the first time I read The Long Halloween is when Batman started
100%.
Becoming a much more integral part of my comic book life.
Yes, and when we first started talking about Batman many moons ago, Long Halloween was definitely first on her list. She read the whole thing cover to cover. I read it after her. She's really been into it for a long time. But lately, every night has been Batman Hush, Batman the Animated Series,
The Long Halloween,
which I am not mad at all. Long Halloween, all of it.
Yeah.
It's been nothing but Batman.
Somewhere the cyborg has a huge smile on his face.
Yeah, I've been watching so much animated Batman. And a lot of these...
Mask of the Phantasm, another really good one.
That one's one of my favorites.
Mask of the Orgasm, what?
That's the rated X version.
Even Gotham by Gaslight, that one's really cool. We'll get into it because we're going to talk about these quickly before we get into the topic at hand.
I'm going to start from 27, started from the bottom. Now we're here. Batman Earth 1, 27. Flashpoint, Batman Night of Vengeance, which is an offshoot of Flashpoint, which is probably following Thomas Wayne. Batman Universe. Batman the Man Who Laughs. Batman Venom, which is probably the Bane story. Batman A Lonely Place of Dying. Sounds just good to me.
Yeah, right.
Batman and the Monster Men. Batman / Elmer Fudd Special number 1.
I mean, that just sounds like it needs to be. Right? Like, what is that?
Batman the Cult.
They're hunting wabbits.
Batman the Court of Owls at 18.
I'm a little surprised that one was down there. Maybe
Me
because,
too.
well, is this all about art? It's best looking? What is it? Best comics. Oh, okay. So it's not about visual. It's just the
Sure.
best comics and graphic
Yeah.
novels ranked. Okay. Then it does kind of surprise me because that one is, I've heard really great things about. Not one that I've read or seen,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But I do have the book and I'd like to read it.
Batman Strange Apparitions, Batman Gothic, Batman Nightfall, Batman The War of Jokes and Riddles. That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to see that. JLA, Justice League, I would imagine, Justice League Alpha, Tower of Babel, Gotham by Gaslight, which is the one you mentioned, and Batman Hush, which Batman Hush, if you haven't seen that one,
Sorry.
the animated movie, solid.
Thank you.
Very solid.
Batman Hush is really good. And I like Gotham by Gaslight because I know I've said this a million times on the show, is I like seeing the same characters like basically portrayed in a different light, and you get to see them kind of in a different way. And Gotham by Gaslight is like as if it was in, I think, like the 20s or 30s or something like that. And the villain is basically Jack the Ripper.
Oh.
So it's done in a very different sort of way, but like the animated version of it, I didn't read the comic of it, but I saw it. It's on HBO Max. But the animated show, it's like an hour and 15-minute little movie, is actually really cool and kind of graphic.
So did the greatest detective figure out who the Ripper was?
He did after he was blamed first.
Nice.
Yeah, he was.
Sounds
blamed as
about
being,
right to
and
me.
Batman wasn't. Bruce Wayne was. Bruce Wayne was blamed for it originally, and then he
But
got
can't
out.
figure it out in real life.
But like Selena Kyle's in it. What's his face? Commissioner Gordon's in it.
Nice. Then there's Batman Who Happened, Whatever Happened to the Cape Crusader. And then here's the top 10. Actually, top 10 was Whatever Happened to the Cape Crusader, Batman the Black Mirror, Batman Year 100, Batman and Dracula Red Rain, number 6, Batman Son of the Demon, which I imagine is when Damian Wayne makes his or he is the son of the demon. Arkham Asylum, Serious House on Serious Earth, Batman The Long Halloween coming in at 4.
Good. So good.
Number 3, The Killing Joke.
Also very good.
Batman Year 1.
Pretty good.
Batman Year 1, number 2. Let's talk about it. And number 1, The Dark Knight Returns.
Which is also a movie. It's been made into an animated movie. All of those have, actually. But The Dark Knight Returns is in a split movie because it's too long. So is The Long Halloween.
Oh.
Both
Very
of them.
nice.
It's like 3 hours.
Long Halloween is long as hell.
It's so good, though.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the art in the animated show matches the art in the book, which I really personally enjoy the Long Halloween art a lot.
Yeah. And so before we get into the Batman, let's talk about the shows, the spinoffs. Obviously, they've greenlit the Penguin series. It's going to be a kind of a coming to power for the Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot. And then there was originally going to be a GCPD show that has since been scrapped.
Which is kind of disappointing. I think Mark and I talked about that like 50 episodes ago.
Well, that wasn't
we were
a
both
thing.
Really excited about it, I thought.
50 years ago. You guys were talking about Gotham way back when.
No, we were not talking about Gotham. There was supposed to be a Gotham PD that came out as a TV show.
About that, where it was them,
and it was
detective-y.
and it was more detective-y and less like, I don't know.
And that's
a classic case of autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yeah, that's where we talked about Court of Owls in that episode and stuff too.
Yeah, everybody's tightening their belts in this economy.
Yeah, gas prices, man.
So now, this has become an Arkham haunted house style story, like straight up horror series, based in Arkham. Now, here is a quote from Matt Reeves, the director of the Batman. We've moved now more into the realm of exactly what would happen in the world of Arkham. It's like a horror movie or a haunted house that is Arkham Asylum.
Damn.
I imagine you'll see people like Victor Zsasz in that one, maybe Killer Croc. Maybe we'll see some top tier villains.
Clayface.
And have to fall. God, could you imagine?
Yes.
That would be like the movie The Thing.
Yeah.
Where, this prisoner could immolate any of you.
Yeah.
And even like your fingerprints and stuff.
I mean,
he's got it
makes
done.
sense for him to be involved in that movie.
That would be amazing. I want to see Solomon Grundy, Born on a Monday.
Yeah, that guy. He
He's scary.
no matter what rendition of him, he creeps me out.
Solomon Grundy.
Solomon Grundy is the big zombie-esque looking guy.
That lives in the sewers.
Very much a simpleton, but you can't shoot him. You can't kill him. He's basically an undead zombie who's like 10 times bigger than a normal
And
dude.
all he says is
Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday.
That's all he says. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday.
And then he grabs you and rips your spine out of your back.
Yeah, he is.
Nice.
Yeah. He's terrifying.
So, let's see that.
A man of so little words.
Let's see Bane. Let's see Ivy.
Let's see a
some more
good, smart
craziness.
Bane, though. I'm like
Yeah,
so done with the.
No
Not that
offense.
Tom Hardy was
Right.
he was certainly not, but I just every time somebody says Bane, I flash back to George Clooney's Bane, and I'm like, you are so stupid.
The Bane that all he does is go.
I hated him.
Yes.
Hated
Well, you
him.
hate him now that you know about the actual character.
Yeah, that's
When we did that character bio, that was the first one that really opened my eyes about a character, and I was like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
Bane is OP."
yeah.
Yeah.
He's the dopest of dopes.
So, let's get into the non-spoiler talk about the Batman.
All right, we're fully non-spoilering.
Fully non-spoilering.
Okay.
It usually takes us at least 45 seconds before we get into spoilers. So let's do that. Let's talk a little bit about this movie. And I'll just ask everybody in the room, and I think I know how these answers are going to go.
You already
Did this movie meet, exceed, or not live up to the hype that it had been built up over all this time? And I will start with you, Miss
Me?
Megan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say it would be in between meet and exceed.
Okay.
I know that's kind of a weird place, but I was very pleased with it.
Yeah.
Once we get into the spoiler stuff, I will I will explain a little bit more as to why I liked it so much.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was, it's not like Endgame. I know I'm a big Marvel geek, more so than DC. Batman's really the only one that's got me on the DC side. But it's not like Endgame or even No Way Home that I was like, I could literally immediately watch this movie 55 times in a row.
Sure.
It was very good. I enjoyed it very much. There were some things that I am very excited to see in the future. I think there were some things that could probably have been cut out. So I have a couple of gripes that I didn't have with movies like No Way Home and Endgame. So that's why it's kind of like, it definitely exceeded, but
Sure.
if there's anything in between that, that's where it falls.
How about you, Mr. Ryan? Now, Ryan is wanting to go back and give it another look, give it another view, because I'll remind everyone, once we saw it, it was about it was starting at 11:30, and it's a 3-hour movie.
At night. It was starting at 11:30 at
So
night.
that is fair. I do want to actually watch it again. I don't think my stance on it's going to change though.
Okay.
That's fair.
And it's like I've said before, it's another Batman movie. It's done a little different, darker tone all the way through. So bling for me. Nothing new. You gave me the same characters that I see in a lot of the other ones. Nothing push for me. Like
okay, and we'll get into spoilers too. We'll talk about that, and then I have some detailed questions I need to ask you. For me, I did the thing where I was trying to stay not hyped about it and go in to see it, and it hooked me from jump. And to me, it definitely exceeded my expectations because I didn't know what to expect from this new style, this new way that they shot this movie, the way they approached it. I can definitely understand where you're coming from, but I liked the differences. And I thought the way they shot it and the way they followed the psyche of all the characters made it different enough for me. And I thought this highlighted some new things about Batman that I gotta say haven't been done before. I think that they really did have a brand new, fresh take on something that could have been, just like you said, just another Batman movie, just another, him brooding in the shadows and then coming out to beat people up.
See, to me, that's what it didn't even feel like that. That's one of the problems that I have with the movie. And not to mention, one spoiler alert, the penguin didn't even eat a fish, man. He didn't even eat a fish.
That's true.
What kind of penguin doesn't eat a fish?
I will say to that,
Fire that writer.
to that, this one is much more in certain degrees, grounded in reality. This one is much more of a realistic style of Batman. It is not as fantastic as Batman Returns, and when I say fantastic, I mean it's not as comic book scale and theatrical. It's meant to be gritty and dirty and have much more realism to it. Are there ridiculous things that happen in this movie? Absolutely. It's Batman.
See, I didn't even feel that, but I do understand what you're saying, and that's one of the problems that I have with it.
So you would have preferred much more of a comic feel.
Yes. And the fact that basically it could just be any guy walking around in a suit is how I felt about this movie. You know what I mean? Like, it could have been Joe Schmo. One of
the things, so overall, you weren't really overly impressed with the movie. You liked it. I was impressed by it. It's very long. It's very long.
Ooh,
they could have easily cut out 30 minutes of this movie, and it still had the same effect, still hit the same. And like we talked about before we went to this, there is a cut of this movie that's 5 hours long. Good God. I have no interest in seeing that, although I'm a liar. The minute it came out, I'd be like, I got 5 hours.
We're going to watch it because we want to see all this shit that was left out.
I'll watch it in shifts. But
see, and that's what's crazy about it, because I actually watched the trilogy, like I said, this weekend. And all those movies are 2.5, 2:44, 2:55.
Yeah.
None of them felt as long as this movie felt. Or
yeah, I think there's a reason for that. But I think you should give it a shot, truly. I mean, if you are a fan of Batman, there's three. I've been saying this since this movie came out, since the minute I walked out of the theater. Our good friend Amber says, so, what'd you think? And I said, okay, for Batman elitists, for Batman comic book readers, they might say this is the best Batman they've ever seen.
So I was going to make that remark in the more spoilerly, I can't say that word to save my life because it's not a real one, in that side of the discussion. However, I can say it safely here. I agree with that statement 1,000%, because this is I feel like the reason I liked it so much is I feel like this is the Batman movie that we have all been waiting for. Like, this is the dark... This is the detective comics. This isn't the quirky, funny George Clooney, everything super
Val
colorful.
Kilmer.
Like, of course, that style of movie was trying to bring the comic book to life. And I think this movie actually brought the comic book to life. It has very dark, morbid, sort of dumpy Gotham City feels. It has a lot of detective shit that Batman actually is involved in, that you actually see the wheels turning and he's actually doing investigations. Like, this is the Batman movie that everybody was waiting for. If you're a comic book fan and you're a Batman comic book fan, that's my personal opinion.
And so the second part of what I was going to say is for casual comic book fans that you just like, oh, another Batman movie out. You know, your partner says, hey, let's go watch a movie. Oh, I heard Batman's out. You might like it, and you might be bored to tears at certain parts, depending on what you're going for and what your expectation of Batman is. Yeah. For casual fans that don't know much about Batman and just know that this is a top-tier movie, you're going to get all sides of the spectrum. But I imagine if they don't want to be there to see Batman, or they're just like there to watch a movie just to do something, they might be like, this is way too long.
If they're hoping
there's
for the
no
penguin,
reason for this movie to be this long.
Yeah. Or the weird out there loud Riddler. If you're looking for those sorts of things, yeah, you might be bored.
Yeah. All right. Now, with that being said, can we get into the spoilers?
Let's do that. Yeah. Let's give everybody. And we're right at an hour here, so this is typically our runtime, but we're going a little long today.
A little longer. Yep.
This is going to be your spoiler warning.
Yep. 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
You're going to give the 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We love
See you guys next week.
Thank you for listening.
We're really happy that you came to spend some time with us here today. I don't know what next week's topic is going to be just yet, but we will get into it. And we will see you then. Okay. My children.
Here we go.
My spoilerific little babies.
All right, let's try.
Or you've already heard it and you're here to scream at the radio.
Try to put this into words.
Put it into words.
Let's hear the negative review first.
Well, no, just not necessarily like you said. Like certain people, like comic book fans, they're gonna love the movie because it's dark and it's gritty. to me, that was one of the biggest problems with it. Was just the tone to be dark, just to be dark.
Yeah.
And I didn't care for that. I mean, this is just me also speaking. I'm a lot different than a lot of other people out there.
Yeah.
So there's
That's
that.
why we love you. That's why you're here.
Like, after watching the trilogy, and I'm like, bro, this whole set's done so well to me. Like, and portraying Batman, if you're going to have him just be a rich guy, somewhat regular person, cool. This guy seemed like the Walmart version of that. Like, even more just...
The Batman did? Yeah, Robert
now,
Batman.
mind you...
In every aspect.
Mind you, this
like,
Batman is supposed to... This is literally year 2. So, Christian Bale's Batman, which I think is, so far, probably the best Batman we have to date, only because he is an established... We have seen him. That story is established, and it's not too flashy, and it's very comic book... It's very good with comic books. I do think that his Gotham City was a little too nice.
I'd say
Gotham City's known to be a dump, and it didn't show in Christian Bale's, and so like the environment was better when it came to.
See, in this one, I just felt it was
Pattinson's.
just dark and doing everything. Like everything just had a black tone to it. That's the whole thing, which is blackwashed.
What I was going to say is that I think Batman Begins obviously is the beginning of Batman.
That's the beginning of Batman.
I think
exactly.
Dark Knight is probably about 5 years in.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a safe one. And I think Dark Knight Rises
8 years later.
Is it officially 8 years
it's
later?
8 years
So
later.
there you go. I mean, there's definitely a big telling of time, but I've got to echo that sentiment 100% because I look at every single Batman movie and I look at how Gotham City is portrayed. Mm-hmm. The city itself, because we can't say that the city is not a character in the movie because it is.
Absolutely a character.
And I got to say, for Christian Bale's, I was never afraid of Gotham City.
Ever.
And when I was looking at the, George Clooney ones where they're all got the like fluorescent face paint on them, sure, that's meant to be scary, but it's too ridiculous. This one looked like an actual dirty city where at any moment somebody was going to get shot. You could see it in the faces of the people that he was walking around, that everybody looked like they could have been a powder keg and somebody could have gone off, especially at the funeral scene. When he's looking at people, he's like, damn, these people are pissed.
So that's where I was kind of getting at, is like the Gotham City that comes straight from the comics. And this especially from the beginning, it has a very long Halloween feel, which is probably why I liked it so much. It literally, it really does, and kind of a hush feel, because we've got the Riddler is involved in this movie quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it definitely had like long Halloween feels. But the Gotham that we all should have seen this whole time was a mob-run city, Gotham, to where basically everybody below the elite was trash and looked like trash, and like literally, like that's the way Gotham is in all of the comics, is that if you are not a part of the elite, if you are not a part of the mobs, if you are not a part of the paid politicians, then you are trash, you are dirty, and you have nothing. That's the way that it's supposed to be in the comic books. And this is, I mean, obviously, and Bruce Wayne is a part of the elite. He's one of the richest, he is the richest guy in the city. But I mean, it's like everybody below that basically is like lives with the rats. And that's exactly what this movie gave us.
Well, and not to mention, it's like if you're not a part of that group, you're working for them, or you're serving them, or you're serving anarchy for some reason, which is why iconic bad guys like the Riddler and like the Joker are seen and beloved by certain people in Gotham, because like, this dude is killing rich people. Mm-hmm. He's doing he's setting the city on fire. I fucking hate it here, and you could feel that from this Gotham City. Another thing about the Batman himself, things that I liked were in all these other Batman movies, he shows up, he's Batman. He shows up, he's in costume. He shows up, he's already there. This showed a young Bruce Wayne doing the legwork too. Yes. Walking around, looking through the city, finding these dangers, and you kind of always were like, man, how is Batman always there? And this movie kind of strung that together very nicely, and I liked that the motorcycle was the means of conveyance and not this huge car, because it was allowing him to cut in and out of traffic and follow people kind of unseen. And you got to imagine he can't always be running around dressed like a giant bat. There's no way he wouldn't be seen. And somebody in today's social media be like, yo, Batman's right there. And what they'd shown, and I thought they did a perfect job, was sending a big message through the silence of the movie and through sound. Like the opening scene, where the Riddler's watching the mayor while he's watching the debate. There's so much tension built up just because Riddler is just standing there watching him. You're like, oh shit, here we go. And then all you're hearing is just the conversation, but that tension is just building and building and building. And then you see Riddler go after him. Then you just hear that, you see the physicality of the Riddler. You're like, this dude has never done this before. And you can see the panic on his face. And then when he's got it, you can see him kind of relaxing a little bit and then getting into his Riddler persona. But in the moments when he's attacking people, you could see Paul Dano doing a great job, by the way, of being scary, but still looking vulnerable at the same time.
And like a low budget BDSM guy.
He's wearing, but everything that he's wearing is practical. They even talk about it in the notes or in the little Riddler chat room. They go, "This is an army surplus survival mask." That's what that is.
Speaking of, did you see the Easter egg to the Jim Carrey Riddler? The white or the clear rimmed glasses he was wearing. Those are the ones that the Riddler wears in
caffeine. Will kill you.
Yep, he literally is wearing the same exact glasses.
That's cool.
It's pretty cool.
But Paul Dano just as the Riddler, and
I just ordered a slice of pumpkin pie.
I loved how he knew he was the smartest guy in the room, and the way that he would put things out there and just be a step ahead, and how he was relishing in the fact that he truly, if you look at any of his stuff, Riddler thought he was the good guy.
Yes.
Yeah. Riddler thinks he's the fucking Batman. He thinks him and the Batman are on a team, and that's why he keeps leaving notes for him. You're helping me.
Yep. And
we are getting rid of the scum in this rotting city, you and me.
I loved how we got the like initial motivation for Riddler as to why he was the way that he was and why he felt the way that he did about the people of Gotham. Was like it takes him back to his childhood when he was in the orphanage and all that shit. I don't know if that was ever shown before. Maybe I'm not as much of a Batman enthusiast as everybody might think, but I didn't know his history. I didn't know the Riddler's history and like his involvement. I don't know if that's just something new for this particular movie or this particular story arc, but I loved that you got to see that because the orphanage and the Wayne family and the Arkham family and how it all comes tied together and this whole, what is it, reborn or restart or rebirth, that whole thing, like he explains, like it explains why he became the way that he did and why he was doing what he was doing and why he thought he was the good guy because he was bringing down all the elite and all of the corruption.
And when they showed some of the elite in the movie, they were physically distraught of, oh my God, we can't find this guy. Because he's not an elite. He's not somebody that we can reach out and touch.
Yeah.
He's somebody who's lurking in the shadows, and we don't have any sort of contingency plan for that. And the only thing that could have stopped him or gotten in the way was this Robert Pattinson Batman. And I didn't even get a chance to finish what I was going to say because I got off on the Riddler train. But you watch these criminals, and they're just watching shadowed areas, and they don't even want to walk over there because they're afraid the Batman's there.
See, and that's one of the problems I have when they were on the train, and the obvious Joker somewhat paid homage to guys that are there.
Just the face-painted goons,
goons who were obviously supposed to be the Joker because, I mean, like
maybe.
Joker like.
Possibly, yeah, for sure.
And they get off, and then they're harassing the guy that they're messing with, and they have the bat symbols in the sky, and he's the shadows, this or that.
Mm-hmm.
By this point in time, if Batman's such a badass, when he walks up, they shouldn't ask, "Who are you?" "I'm vengeance," and then he proceeds to beat one guy up barely. Like, I don't know. To me, like, if that first one,
well,
like,
he beat all their asses first and foremost.
Yeah, but I mean, like, when it's Batman, you know, that shadow that comes, one gets snatched. They're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And then that next person, and then you know the bat's on you. But for them to have to ask him who he was, like, this dude hasn't made an impression. Like, I'm supposed to believe this guy's Batman?
Well, sure. I mean, some people may not know who he is. They may have heard about him, but, you know, it's possible that this guy doesn't fucking watch the news or care who that is. So, I mean, that didn't ruin that for me because clearly the kid knew who he was.
And I also think the kid he was a halfway crook. He had no business being there. You could see that there.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, his face was painted halfway because he wasn't all the way in with him.
Right.
So, I don't know. To me, just like, that the Batman, Robert Pattinson did a fine job.
Yeah, it's time for the Twilight jokes to stop because Pattinson, he handled his business.
Yeah, he did. And I was actually very surprised. Not really surprised because, I mean, people can act.
Yeah.
And he's not a bad actor. But, like, going back to, like, the Riddler, I felt like there should have been more back and forth between him and Batman. Like, I've watched the comics where Riddler throws something out at him, and Batman automatically knows the answer to like his little stupid riddles. Like,
and he did.
Like the first one, he lied.
And he
still.
did in this one, yeah.
Like, but I don't know. Just something about this movie just did not do it for me. The Zoe Kravitz, clearly the supposedly Halle Berry look like. It's almost like they took a bunch of the other Batman movies and kind of tried to meld them together.
I don't know if I'd say Halle Berry look like, because there's almost no, if any, connection from that Catwoman to this one.
I get that, but you can't tell me that she doesn't remind you of Halle Berry and the Catwoman.
The first time I'd ever thought of that was you telling me that right now.
Oh, really?
Because she looked so much more practical as an actual cat burglar, other than obviously the hoodie to make her look like Catwoman.
I get that, but I like just saying that's one of the first things me and the wife said when we got out. Like the whole that's supposed to be almost Halle Berry.
I don't think that's what they're knocking at all.
I mean, they might not have been knocking at it, but that's what I gathered from it. I mean, and then there was the Penguin, who was also great because I was like, man, that's Colin Farrell under there.
Yeah,
like, bro, for real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who was it?
What's the voice?
What's the name?
Everything.
The guy that plays Falcone. What's his name?
Falcone?
John
Turturro.
Yeah.
Said it took him a minute to realize that he was acting opposite of Colin Farrell since the Penguin's makeup was so convincing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was incredible.
Yeah. He was a definite bright spot. Turturro was a great bright spot. He was awesome, but let me tell you, the one thing that probably could have been cut, but definitely shouldn't be cut, is that car chase.
Yeah.
That moment when they see that jet engine in a Challenger start up, I was like, oh shit. That was one of the coolest sequences of the film. Mm-hmm. Does it necessarily have to be done? No, he could have captured Penguin in the warehouse and been done with it.
I got you freaking psycho.
Yeah, that whole thing, man, just showed that was them showing the fact that Bruce Wayne is not like your typical Bruce Wayne. In terms of Batman, sure, we've seen Batman's whoop ass before. We've never seen Bruce Wayne like this, where Bruce Wayne didn't give a shit about Alfred, who all he cared about was his family's legacy and getting out there and stopping crime in Gotham. And if that meant him dying, he even says, I don't care if I die. It's just, that was him showing his reckless side. And another big thing, the relationship with Alfred, you've never seen that in a Batman movie, where Alfred is almost an annoyance to Bruce. Like, dude, stop trying to be my dad. Get out of my life. Leave me alone.
You got to watch the trilogies again.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of that in there.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. After coming off fresh, because that's what, after watching it, I'm like, why does this to me feel reminiscent of a bunch of movies meshed together? And I went back and I watched the trilogy. And I'm like, because you insert someone here and here, and to me, I feel like it is. It's just redoing it, only really dark and really slow.
But the things that they focus on in those slow moments is not just Bruce watching the news or Bruce talking to people at a party or swimming in the hotel lobby's pool. It's him physically taking hard evidence back to the Batcave, throwing it down and doing the legwork to try to find out what these, puzzles are that the Riddler's leaving for him. And he's constantly like, man, what does this mean? I need to try to find it. And it shows him going down there to find the thumb drive. I mean,
that was hilarious.
There was so much good Detective Comics content in this movie of him actually trying to piece it together, and the Riddler just spoon feeding people enough just to get them to their next victim before it was too late. And I mean, the whole thing where at the end he's just looking at him and it takes you a second. I thought it was a brilliant moment where Riddler just keeps going, Bruce Wayne. Mm-hmm. He's saying to Batman, this is the big problem with this city. Bruce Wayne. He's the guy who symbolizes everything that I hate. He is everything that I'm not.
And Bruce finally took a breath.
I hate this guy. And then he goes, Bruce Wayne, it's people like him that are the problem. And then Batman, you see him kind of go, yeah,
God.
me, fuck that guy. But you see him take a huge sigh of relief, but it's really well done.
Yeah.
And this is my problem with the movie. You have this great 3 hours or 2 hours and 30 minutes getting to the Riddler. The Riddler is then thrown behind bars. And then he has to go stop Riddler's plan that's already in place. I would have loved Riddler to be in that climactic ending. I get why he's not. So he could show that depression of seeing that he's losing in a cell right next to a certain clown prince of Gotham. And showing the Batman going out and his whole master plan going off without a hitch and still not mattering. And Batman still being that symbol of hope and making people happy and saving them in the end. But it sets it up for a really, really grimy sequel, which they're already going bonkers over and wanting to speculate wildly when this movie's not even out of theaters yet. So people better slow the hell down. But I thought it was an excellent movie. If you're a Batman fan, check it out. It's worth a watch regardless.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there are certainly Batman movies out there that are worse. I right now am still ranking Nolan's trilogy because of Heath Ledger and Christian Bale.
Yeah.
And Liam Neeson and Tom Hardy. Those guys, they're definitely up there. But the Pattinson jettisoned straight to second place for me.
Yep. And
I thought he
we
was
also,
great.
Jack and I did watch it twice, which I will say, watching it a second time definitely did it for us because, like we said, we watched the first time in the middle of the night, pretty much, and we watched the second time. We were able to really kind of
Picking up on
appreciate
a lot more second time around.
So, give it its time and the respect that it deserves in regards to your attention.
I mean,
and
if
you
you're a
might enjoy
Batman
it.
fan, I think you're gonna dig it.
Yeah. And if
We
you fall
also
asleep-
the second time went with some non-Batman fans who really don't know much about comics, and they were like, "That movie was fucking awesome."
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. It's gonna hit everybody differently.
Yeah. Honestly, too, I think a lot of me is just I'm tired of seeing the same faces.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing the same story for the most part. Give me
That's the problem is DC has
something
never gotten it right,
new.
and I think that's what I appreciate so much about Marvel is that they got it right from jump.
And they don't have to go back and reboot the Avengers 8 times.
Right. I mean, if they did what they did with Hulk with all the characters, I'd been probably checked out years ago with Marvel too. But they got that on track pretty quick, and
Yeah. Sure did.
yeah,
Just give me the goddamn Red Hood. That's it. That's all I want.
right.
You've got to see an older Pattinson get a Robin and have that Robin get
Yeah.
killed before you do that. We're
When
talking
are we
about
even gonna
5 Pattinsons if you want to see that.
When are we even going to see a Robin? We haven't seen a Robin in fucking
A hot minute.
Coon's age.
Because he's clunky, man. It's hard to play him off the right way. You can't have the Dark Knight and the Robin who's bright red and yellow. Anyway, that's going to do it for us, guys. Episode 97.
97.
Rapidly approaching episode 100. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We appreciate the hell out of you. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you on the next side. I don't know.